My name's Shell. Welcome to my channel where I'm losing weight using the online Slimming World plan. Recently, Slimming World have been running a challenge and it's for 3 weeks, 100% optimising. And I've been joining in this. I've really enjoyed it and I feel that it is helping me just get back on plan. After Christmas I had a bit of a problem getting over all the Christmas treats, and I feel it really has helped focus my attention onto just food optimising every day 100%. I don't know whether Slimming World have done this before. I thought that Jane said they had done it once before. If so, I don't remember it. But I think it's a really good way to go, and after all the talk about the changes to the plan and the changes to group and all the different things that have gone on recently, it's been quite tumultuous. I feel that we've all got back to talking about food optimising and how we can really best make use of all the tools and the various parts of food optimising that's available to us. I know in group they've been talking about this, and online as well. There have been lots of events to go to. The main one on a Sunday evening is for the Optimising Challenge, and during the week we've had lots of other events going on to do with different foods or ones dedicated to the different aspects of optimising. And it made me think that when I first went back to group last year, which is almost a year ago now, I was doing a streak of days optimising, and I can't remember what I got up to now, but it was quite a long way along. It was definitely more than 3 weeks, and I found it really helped just doing every day, trying to work out how I could do each day food optimised and get on a streak of days. So perhaps it might be an idea after the 3 weeks to carry on, because it does cut out all thoughts of saving sins, cheat days, adding a little bit on here and there, not weighing and measuring, all these things that we might do. If we're really serious about the 100% optimising, then we can't do any of those. And I'm finding it's really helping me. So if you're doing it, let me know how you're getting on. I know Al's doing it, and I know Jane's doing it because she's done, like 3 years optimising or something. She optimises every day. But, for some of us, I think it is really helping us get back on track. And I watched a good podcast this week. I'll put it in the link below, and it was by a bloke I hadn't heard of before called Suplee, and he was in a programme called, I think it was called My Name is Earl, which I haven't watched, and also he was in the film The Wolf of Wall Street and lots of other things as well, so perhaps if you watch these you would know him. But he was at one stage, by the time he was 20, he was 550 pounds, and he was also addicted to heroin, alcohol and some other opioids, I think painkillers. So he was in a bad way, and he was told he was going to die, and so for various reasons he decided that even though they said he couldn't recover, even if he cleaned up his act, he decided he would anyway. So he spent 2 years on the addictions of the alcohol and all the other drugs that he was on. And then after 2 years, he decided to tackle the food. And this podcast, it was on the Rich Roll podcast, and he was there as an interviewee. And he talked about motivation, and somebody had asked him, how did you get motivated? And he said, the thing that you have to do is be consistent. And he said, that's all you need. You don't need motivation. You just need to be consistent, because consistency breeds motivation, which I thought was really insightful, because it does. If you're consistent day after day after day, that breeds motivation and it makes you want to continue. So he suggested that being consistent was the first thing you needed to tackle, even if you didn't feel motivated, and the motivation would come. He was a really interesting bloke. He did lose all the weight he wanted to, and he got down to, he was cycling, and he was down to about 14% fat, which is really low. But he still said that every day was a struggle. Oh, not a struggle, but he said he had to be mindful every day to still stay to maintaining his weight. And he did talk about another thing, which was that when he got on the scales, it was like a dopamine hit to see the scales going down all the time. And every time he got on the scales, he would get a little thrill from losing weight, which I think we all do. I mean, we all want to, and when we get on the scales, it is a nice feeling when you lose, which of course you don't have once you get to a maintenance weight. You don't have any more that little hit of getting on the scales and getting that result. And he did speak about that. And also, one thing that he did say when he was asked, how do you tackle every day? He said, I get up in the morning and I make a plan for the day. Once that's in place, I make a backup plan. And once I've done that, I make a backup plan for the backup plan. And in the back of my mind, I've always got a backup plan in case all of that goes to the dogs. And again, it's really, really helpful, because how many times do we get up in the morning and have a plan, and then throughout the day things change? You might not even feel like eating the things that you've planned, or you can't get round to making them, or you go to the fridge and what you were going to cook has gone off, or all the things that happen. And you need a backup plan. I have always got things in the freezer that if everything goes wrong, I can just grab out and defrost, and I can do it in 5 minutes. I've always got rice and beans and vegetables, some kind of curries and chilies, all sorts in the freezer to just defrost. So I would encourage you to go and listen to the podcast. I said I'll put the link in below. He has got his own channel, which I haven't listened to. I keep meaning to go and look it up, because he was interested. He didn't just have a straight loss. He did lose and then put about 100 pounds back on and then lose it again. But now for a long time, for about 10-15 years, he has been maintaining. So it's well worth a listen. I've had a busy week this week. Last week we went up to Cumbria to visit my mum. She's gone into a home now, and that was the first time that we've been up to visit her in the home. And it was really lovely to see, because it's a nice home. She's got a lovely room with 3 big windows and a telly, and it's really cosy. The staff were lovely, and the patients that could go downstairs were all watching a singer. They had a singer in the afternoon, and my sister popped her head round and she said they all looked so happy. Everybody was sitting around, lots of wheelchairs or people just sitting in easy chairs, and everyone seemed so happy, so it was lovely to see. And I did stay on plan. Even when we only went up for the day, and it was a long time. It was 3 hours travelling there, then the visit, and 3 hours travelling home. So I took my food with me. I think I took 2 bananas, 2 oranges, an apple, so that I could just snack on those. And then I took my food flask, which I've got here. This is my flask that I took, and it's a really good one. It's about, for Jane and anybody else, it probably holds about a pint. And it's got a wide mouth on the top. Take the lid off. On the lid inside, it's got a spoon, which I don't use because it's I suppose to get on the lid, it's quite a flat spoon. And I like one that's quite deep. Otherwise, I lose everything off the edges. But it's got quite a wide mouth, about as big as the bottom of a standard coffee cup. That sort of roundness, so you can get your spoon in. And I filled mine with it with hot brown rice and chickpeas, and then I put raspberries on the top. So by the time I got to eat it, it was just warm. It wasn't hot, it was just warm. And I stirred it all in, and it was really lovely. I know I don't eat always conventional food, but brown rice and chickpeas and raspberries go so well together. They're just a match made in heaven. So I had that on the train, and throughout the rest of the day I just ate the fruit. We did go to the pub, but only because we missed a connection. We had to wait on Lancaster Station for over an hour, and the only warm place was the pub, so we went in there. But because it was so cold outside, I didn't really want a cold drink, so I didn't have anything. But it was nice and warm in there, and Andy got to have a whiskey as well, so he was pleased. And apart from that, it's just generally been a busy week, and I'm still experimenting with being more healthy. That's what I want to do this year. I want to find a level of healthiness that I can stick to. I know I can't stick to being 100% healthy food, but I want to find a level that I can maintain. I tried to do it all in one go last year in August. I did a vlog at the time and it was a disaster, but I tried to do too much too soon. So this year I'm experimenting one thing at a time. At the beginning of the year, I thought I would try having a glass of red wine each night, which didn't work out because the first 2 nights were fine. I stuck to the 125 mils, but then it always ended up where a night would come where I'd end up drinking the other half of the bottle. So I just couldn't do it. I did try. I tried really hard because I wanted to, but it's not going to happen. I'm not going to be able to just sensibly drink 1 glass every night. I just can't seem to do it. So that went out. I did introduce peanut butter back into my plan when it became available as a healthy extra. Now, this is an ongoing thing because I bought the Marnie Life deep roast peanut butter, and again I couldn't control my eating of it. I just kept going back and dipping into the jar with a spoon. Well, it was a tub actually with a spoon, so I ended up throwing it away to get it out of the house. But I have learnt since that Marnie Life and Pip and Nut are using these new peanuts which have got much healthier fats in them. They've been bred to have far healthier fats in them, more like an avocado, which is why I went for the Marnie Life. But I think they've also been bred to be sweeter because they do taste, it does, for a peanut butter it tastes really sweet. It does taste like it's got sugar or a sweetener in it, but that's just the peanuts. They've been bred to taste like that. Now I think for me, because it's got salt in as well, I think the deep roast flavour, the salt and the extra sweet peanuts are just too much for my addictive side of my eating. So I will experiment and go back to the peanut butter later on, but I'm going to go for the unsalted, unroasted, raw, ordinary peanut butter and see how I get on with that, and I suspect it might be a lot better, but that's something for later in the year. A fortnight ago I gave up Red Bull and Diet Coke, and that worked great. I felt so much better even after a week of not drinking those. So this last fortnight I've also cut out drinking coffee, and the first few days were quite rough and I couldn't stay awake in the evenings. I was trying to watch things on the telly with my other half and I was just falling asleep. It was ridiculous. But after the 2 or 3 days things have levelled out, and I now feel heaps better for cutting it out. I really feel not just a little bit better, I feel hugely better. I find the days of my energy levels are just levelled out all day now, whereas before I'd get tired, I'd have a coffee and perk me up, and it was just going on the same all day. But being totally caffeine free now for nearly 2 weeks, I think it's something that I'm definitely going to stick with, so that's one thing that has worked. I've been sleeping better. I've only been drinking water in the day, either hot water or cold fizzy water. That's all I've been drinking in the daytime, and still having a trip before bed, which I've been swipping. But I've really enjoyed that. So some experiments have definitely made me decide not to carry on with the thing, and some have worked in my favour. I'm going to carry on. I don't know what I'm going to try doing next. I think cutting down on salt is going to be the next thing, because I do love salt and I'm sure I have far too much of it. So that's going to be the next experiment, I think, for the week coming up. I've had lots of nice things to eat this week. One of the things I've been eating is these dates. They're fresh dates and they're from Marks and Spencer's. You only get 12 in the box, but they're great big fat ones, and they're 3 swips each, and they taste like toffee. They're so creamy and they're like caramel. You can't just put them all in your mouth at once because they're so big. I've finished that box now. Unfortunately I had to share them so I didn't get to eat the whole 12. But they are lovely, and fresh dates are so much nicer than the dried ones. It is a kind of a bit of a mission as well, to just be able to eat one date at a time, because I could sit and eat the whole box at once, to be fair. It wouldn't take me much. I did try putting them in the freezer once, and then I realised that frozen dates were even nicer than ones out of the fridge, so that didn't work. But these are lovely. I've never had dates as nice as these. I've had fresh dates before, but these Marks and Spencer's ones are just gorgeous. Did I say they were three swips each? Which I felt was worth every bite. I think that's all I've got to tell you about. This week I've got 2 results because I just didn't get around to doing a video. Well, actually I did do a video last week. I didn't manage to do it until the weekend, and then it was yesterday before I could get it uploaded, and I thought there was no point in uploading one yesterday and then one on Thursday. I may as well just do one today, which is my weighing day, and that'll serve for the 2 weeks. So I've got the results for the 2 weeks. Last week I got on the scales and I lost, well, surprisingly for me, I lost 3 3/4 pounds. So that took me down to 9 stone 7 1/4. I started out, well, at my heaviest I was 13 stones 8. Then when I started Slimming World online last year, I was 12. Then when I went to group in March, I was 11 9.5, or was it 10.5? I think it was 11 9.5, I think. And I did get down to, around about last September, 8 stone 10. So now I'm back up to 9 7.5. So I've still got a bit to go to get back to where I was before, but it's coming along. But I think 3 3/4 pounds is a lot for me to lose. I don't usually lose that much, and I think it was a bit of a fluke because this week I put on 1/4 pound. So I am at 9 stone 7 now. So I was down to 9 7 1/4, and now I'm down to up to 9 7.5. I'm quite pleased with that because I think it was a lot to lose last week, and this really means I've levelled out at a good loss over the 2 weeks. I hope you've had a good loss yourselves, and whatever plan you're sticking to. And are you doing the challenge? I'd be interested to know if you are doing it and how you're getting on with it. I think it's an excellent chance, and you don't have to do it along with Slimming World. You can start it whenever you want, really, and I'm hoping to carry on the streak once the 3 weeks is up, which I think is next week. So I hope you all have a lovely week on plan, and I'll see you next week and hope that you will see less of me. Bye!